Welcome back, boys. My name's Rob and this is Sarah.
In this episode, we're going to take a $500 boat drag racing.
Woo! Fired up. What's up, Sarah? What are we doing?
Stupid thing.
So I decided last night at 6 p.m. that we're gonna drag race the CeeBee, and the race is tomorrow. We have not touched this all season, have not started it all season because
It overheats.
well, no, I lost the key. And then we pulled the floor out of it and we found another rotten floor. And actually, we pulled another floor. It had 3 floors originally, so
Yeah.
you should check out that video up here. But we actually didn't replace the floor. We've been leaving it out in the sun to hopefully dry out. The stringers feel kind of okay. And yeah, we're just gonna send it. But we have a ton of work to do to get this thing ready for racing. We're gonna be going to Fremont, Wisconsin, the finals of the Upper Midwest Powerboat Association, and we're gonna be in the 65-mile-an-hour class because still haven't broke 60.
This is the most hick thing we've ever done.
It's definitely like one of the most last-minute things we've decided to do.
Yeah, because the plan is to
And-
just chuck a floor in, bolt some seats down, and send it. And I feel like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I still never fixed the overheating on the engine. We're just gonna send it with no thermostats, and we need to get everything bolted down. We also need to rewire the trailer. All right, Ferda.
Oh boy.
All right, the first roadblock we're running into is the last time I looked at this thing, which was 4 months ago. We drilled a hole here. The previous drain hole is too high, and we needed to get all the water out of the bottom of the boat. So I got one of those compression things and a sleeve to add a new transom sleeve, but I can't get to the other side because it's under the floor. We're gonna use a spade bit on a long extension and hog it out from in here till we hopefully hit it, and then I should be able to use a socket on an extension while you're over there and we can compress that in there. And all right, we'll try it.
Hey, you wanna know what? Instead of trying to go from this side and like hope that you hit it, what if you went from the other side?
We're just gonna jam it in the backside and hope it works.
God.
All right, this isn't working, so I got another idea. Well, I tried using, instead of a wood thing, I tried using a tube and jamming that in there, which took out some foam, but I still cannot get to the other side. And even if I do, I don't know how I would use this tool because I'd need to hold either the nut or the bolt from the inside of the boat on like a 2-foot extension. So we're not building a church or a tavern, so we're just gonna throw some silicone on this and just jam it in there because I need to get this boat ready for tomorrow and I'm running out of time. Perfect. So before I finish putting the interior in, I want to run a new water pressure line. Last year, I tried to use some shock line for like rear air shocks, but it had a T. And this did not work and it leaked. And every time I drove the boat, I was pumping water into the boat. So we're gonna run one line uninterrupted from the engine to the gauge. Well, water pressure gauge didn't make the cut. Apparently the Merc and the gauge are both metric, and nobody has metric compression fittings and nobody has metric hoses. So we're going to just run it with no gauge. We're gonna have one working gauge. Fuel gauge won't work, trim won't work, water pressure won't work, but the temperature gauge will. So we're gonna throw the interior back in here. Once again, this is where we were a few hours ago. Yeah. Just don't look too close.
Yeah. It's prettier than I thought we were gonna pull off, so look at us.
Yeah, look at that. It's still got the McDonald's seats now, and I'm loving it. Now, we still have not started this thing in a year, so we're going to rewire the trailer quick and then go put it in at dusk, or get up really early in the morning. Sarah's
Or
favorite.
we'll put some muffs on it in the driveway and try it out.
Check out this wiring.
Sorry. Didn't know that was on.
Yeah, there's a reason the trailer lights don't work. All the wiring's fried.
Oh, good.
You vacuuming?
I was going to.
Nice. You found your calling.
Oh my god. You know what?
All right, so to fix the rest of the wiring, luckily this trailer looks pretty simple because it's got a dual frame. It doesn't have like a single tongue and then two parts. So I think we're just gonna try to pull these grommets, tape the new wiring harness to the existing wires, clip these, and then we're gonna try to pull them back and let them come out there. Good morning. First day for racing, I guess. But before we get all the way up there, I want to make sure this starts because, again, I haven't touched it this year. And then we're also going to install bearing buddies in the trailer because I have never greased these wheel bearings and we're now going to be towing it over an hour away. So let's see if we can make some noise to wake up the neighbors. That's awesome. So now we're going to install bearing buddies because, again, I haven't towed this trailer very far ever, so I don't want that to happen. All right, here you go.
Here goes nothing.
All right, boys, before we take this thing racing, I got a couple sponsors I want to mention. One of them is Wagner Marine Sales and Service. They are in West Bend, Wisconsin, and they have a whole bunch of old outboards. If you have an older OMC or a Black Max or anything that's like not brand new and kind of two-stroke, definitely talk to these guys. They have a ton of parts and a bunch of techs, super helpful, and they helped me out with some parts for this episode. So definitely check these guys out. I'll put a link down below. The other sponsor I want to talk about real quick, this is only going to be 30 seconds, I promise, is this All-Power R600 portable solar generator here. They sent me a 100-watt flexible solar panel, which is pretty dope. And then I forget the exact capacity of this thing, but it's got a decent amount of power. It's got some built-in AC inverters that I wind up using for all sorts of things. USB-C, USB, a little flashlight here, and 12 volts. And the really cool thing that I think is awesome is they also have a wireless charger right up here for your phone. They're actually really handy, not just for camping, but I'm kind of lazy, so when I don't want to roll up an extension cord, I usually just grab this and use the AC outlets. In this episode, we actually did use it to keep the battery fluffed up. I had a battery charger, the solar panel, and then this thing plugged into it just to make sure that the battery was topped off at all times before we raced. So, all right, back to the races.
Well, here we are. The boat made it. I was a little worried about the trailer actually, but Rob assured me we would make it. Knock on wood. He is at the driver's meeting now. I am a little bit apprehensive about this, friends. So crossing fingers and toes, and I hope at least he has fun, but really hope the boat doesn't break or flip or kill him or anything like that. So. I thought you said go from the back. You're a little, whoa. Jesus Christ. Drain plugs are in. Can get it from here.
Okay, so we need to talk about our first experience drag racing a $500 CeeBee Avenger. What was the main takeaway?
Do we?
Yeah, I think
do we need to talk about it?
We need to have a wrap up here on why there's not some really awesome footage, and the reason is that Sarah forgot to charge the SLR, and I actually got second place in my class, which is incredible.
That happened. Mm-hmm. Hey, Rob, how many boats were in your class?
2.
Including
me. Actually, we had, I knew this was a long shot. We haven't touched the boat in a year, and I decided to do this last minute and throw something together and see if we could go have some fun. We did have some fun.
What we did not do, actually, though, is drag race.
Yes. So what happened was, you heard it run. It does run. We put it in the water, and I backed out of the spot and got in the river, and then it promptly died and wouldn't start again, and I floated down the river and parked at some random person's house. Thank you, Jack, for your hospitality, even though it was forced upon you. Your lawn is beautiful.
The guy that we were supposed to race against was really, really supportive and said, hey, we've all been there. Take your time. See if you can get it started. I'll wait for you all day. We can go last instead of first if needed, which would have been also kind of hilarious. But to do the fastest boats and then...
Yeah. But you know what? We met a lot of really awesome people. And like Sarah said, the whole community was super cool. And they were stoked to see the $500 boat show up and not do anything.
And maybe next year we'll go to an earlier race in the season, not the last one.
And maybe we'll put it in the water before we try racing it, and maybe solve the overheating problem and actually put a floor in it instead of just screwing some plywood to some 2x4s. But, we did have fun, and I think we know what's wrong with the engine already. Whenever this thing runs, the primer bulb, after running for about 20 seconds, the primer bulb is completely empty. And if I pump it up, fuel starts pouring out of that connector right where it goes into the outboard. So we're pretty sure there's an O-ring or something in that pickup, and what's happening is the engine is running, and it would rather pull air than fuel because it's easier. So basically we have a fuel problem that we need to figure out pretty quick here. What did you think about the event in general?
It was fun. It was really well put together.
You've never been to a boat drag race before?
I had not been to a boat drag race.
What did you think? Was it totally dangerous and scary, or was it pretty cool?
A little bit, actually. Like the way some of these boats dance and get air, no thank you. But yeah, I did like the way it was it best out of 3, best out of 4? You had to win 3 times.
I forget. Yeah. I didn't get to race, so I don't know.
There was definitely some good like nose and nose fights happening. It was kind of cool. And
yeah, and I love seeing like the big V8s go up against the tiny outboards. You have different launches and stuff catches up, and you never know what's going to win. So that's cool. The venue was great. I think they could definitely shift the whole thing toward the bridge a little bit, because some of the main restaurants you couldn't really see anything. So maybe just shift.
And it was kind of cool to watch at multiple points along the course too, because it was a very different experience watching at the start versus the middle versus the end, because of that variability in like launch versus catch up.
Yeah, and if you were at the finish line, they had the guy throw the flag to one side or the other to let the audience know who won, because sometimes it was so close. One pro tip I have for Upper Midwest Powerboat Association is the start boat, the guy that says go, he should have a flag, because if you're on the river, you can't really tell who won because you can't see the end.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
And so if they just like did this, like if you were on the other end of the river where the start is,
or something, yeah,
you could just see who won, because like when you're on one side of the river, it's like, I don't know who won. It's way over there. It's kind of at an angle, so like
yeah,
it's
your
hard to tell.
perspective effects. You're like, did they? Yeah. Special thanks to Sam and Mitch and Olivia, who saved the day and towed us back. Some fans of the channel that we got to meet in real life, which is just super weird to say, actually.
Yeah, if you see me at a boat event or whatever, just say hi. So unless
and then we might ask you to tow us, though, so maybe don't say hi unless
yeah, if you've got some free time and you want to tow a boat around that doesn't start, say hi to me and I'll suck you into it. Sorry for the blue balls on racing the $500 boat, but hey, this is this is a $500 boat.
And it didn't blow up. It just broke differently. And I was worried about it actually like blowing up a little bit. So
yeah. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for coming to the channel. Leave a comment. Also, I am still looking for a hydraulic jack plate and an Alpha SS. So
no SS.
Let me know if you actually see an Alpha SS or a hydraulic jack plate.
Do not let us know that.
All right. Thanks, dudes. Till next time. Cheers.
No SS.
Hey, friends. That's wonderful.
This is also amazing. You see someone with some studs on a sled launched off this deck here?
Oh, God, okay.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's totally what that is.
That's awesome.
Go for a rip.
Yeah.
Have a better day. Yes, please.
Okay, we'll go for a little rip.
Yeah.